Welcome to the Week 7 Homicide Report, the weekly program where we talk about all the people who needlessly died at the hands of another person. So let's take a look at where the numbers stand right now with the 8 cities that we're kind of focusing on. LA County, after a slow start, has jumped ahead of Chicago. Chicago had a slower week, and LA County has jumped into the lead where they should be. LA County has close to 10 million people. Chicago has about 2.7 million. So it's 3 times the size, and they should be ahead of Chicago, but Chicago needs competition. And looks like maybe Philadelphia this year is going to give it to them. Philadelphia is at 68, and Philadelphia is coming off a record year. And right now, they're right on pace with where they were last year with the number of murders they're having on average. Baltimore as well is right on pace with where they were last year. And Milwaukee, with their 33 right now, they had a record year last year, and they're way ahead of pace again. They're keeping pace with it, and they're likely going to have another record year this year. Columbus was another one that had a record year last year. Things have calmed down there. It's not as bad there as it was last year, at least so far this year. So if we look at this image, you'll see that these are how many additional ones there were just in week 7. And LA County had a lot. St. Louis, who started off slow the first 6 weeks, they really are kicking it in now. And Philadelphia as well has had quite a bit. And then you go down and you look at Las Vegas, there weren't any. Las Vegas in 2021 had 240, so that was 0.66 a day. So they're actually doing pretty good this year. They're well below the pace that they were at last year at this time. Now these 13 cities all had record years last year, ranging from just, Macon, Georgia was only like 5 more, but you could go as high as Louisville, which had like 77 more, Philadelphia 59 more, and the rest of them mostly ranged like 20, 25, 30 more than they did on their previous record year. And these 6 here were coming off a record 2020 year. And these 4 are on pace either equal to or ahead of what their average was last year. So now we're going to take a look at Washington, D.C., who's had 20 homicides through week 7. For one reason we're going to look at this one is a few weeks ago I did a video that I titled The 4-Block Bullet. And if you're not familiar with my videos, at the beginning of my videos I always put a stat of the day that has reference to the video that I'm doing. And for that video I put this stat that according to the NRA, a bullet from a 9mm handgun will travel unimpeded 1.2 miles. And in the video, a woman named Bobby Johnson was shot by a bullet that was shot from 4 blocks away. She was a 55-year-old woman. She's just, going to the bank, and she gets shot in the chest and she died. If you think about from your home how far a mile is in each direction, and that's how far at least a bullet can fly. And that's just a 9mm. I didn't look up any of the other ones. That's 1 mile that bullet could fly, that you could get hit from a bullet that far away. And that's one of the reasons we're looking at Washington, D.C., because in Washington, D.C. last week I did 2 videos, one on a guy named Harold James, who was shot by a stray bullet from the guy who lives in the apartment above him. The guy was cleaning his gun. The gun just accidentally went off, went through the floor, shot the guy in the leg, and he ended up dying. And another woman, Pamela Thomas, was just driving down the streets in D.C., and a stray bullet hit her while she was driving. Her son, who was in the car with her, actually said he felt the bullet go through his hair before it hit his mom. So stray bullets are something that I just wanted to point out because it happens, and those 2 were 2 that happened in D.C. on the same day within just a couple hours of each other. And I want to finish up again with the murder-suicides because we're still averaging way higher than what it was last year on any kind of daily basis. Through the first 7 weeks, there have been at least 98. And in just week 7, there was at least 10, which is an average of 2 a day. Last year, the average was closer to like 1.6 a day. And these numbers are using just the gun stats, because that's the only ones that I could get an accurate number of. But the majority of the murder-suicides are by guns. So these are just stats from the murder-suicides that were gun-related. So that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for watching. I'll be back again next week to give you an update on where we're at in week 8 of 2022. Until then, have a good week, and I'll see you next week.